All right, last game of the week. Moving on, Chicago Rush take on and visit the Kansas City Brigade. And everybody thought this was the big upset of the week. I wasn't surprised. Again, Chicago, obviously a slow starting team. Last year, this is a franchise that won, although they were the world champions, they only won 5 games in the regular season last year. And again, not a big deal for them to drop their opener. Although on the other side, KC Brigade at home, 3 wins last year to beat the world champs is a big, big jump start for this franchise. Raymond Filial, of course, the big story. Again, you couldn't script this any better. Raymond Filial here was the quarterback of the Crush a couple seasons back and led them deep in the playoffs. Now playing for the Brigade. Of course, Kenny McIntyre as well played with Orlando that got beat by the Rush last year in the championship game. So a lot of chips on these guys' shoulder, and these guys came out to play. Raymond still had a little, I'd say, a little difficulty there. Had a few balls to get away from him in the centers exchange, but nonetheless still looked very good. And Chicago, again, not a big deal, not a reason to panic. They just, again, just treated this one, I think, as an on-the-road kind of preseason game and look for them to pick it up as the season goes on. T-Cos?
Yeah, Raymond Filial, much like Shane Stafford, playing his old team, wanting to get some revenge, and pulled it off quite nicely. Not only that, you got to remember Kenny McIntyre on defense, a big off-season acquisition for Kansas City. He wanted a little revenge too, because the last game he played was against Chicago, and he lost the championship game against them. So they came out with fire, and I think with their fan support that they've got, they're going to run with this, and I think they're going to be a competitive team. They've gotten over that freshman year, and now it's the sophomore year for them. So they're going to be a team that looks like they're going to reckon with some of the veteran teams here.
All right, moving on, folks. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk our players of the week, and T-Cos and I will battle out who's on the all-money team for Week 1 in the AFL. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back to AFL Today. E-Money here with Tony Cozzolino breaking down Week 1. And now we move to the Players of the Week, the all-money team. Let's start with the easy ones, T-Cos. We'll start with the offensive side of the ball, and I think this was on everybody's easy list there. Quarterback Clint Dolezel, 7 TDs. And although I don't think it's necessarily the stats, it was just his efficiency and poise in the pocket. I know I'm not a big stat guy, but I know he does have the #1 passing rating. But Clint's just a leader, and you could see that the Dallas Desperados were hitting on all 12 cylinders, or should I say 8 cylinders in the case of the AFL. But again, I think there's no denying Clint Dolezel. Moving on to wide receiver, I was there at the game. I saw it live, sat front row, and watched Ben Nelson just pretty much at will take his scoring drives against the Avenger defense. Again, not great, mind-blowing numbers, but that's very good. I think 14 receptions, 180 yards, 4 TDs to rack up. So Ben just doing what he does. Once again, hasn't missed a step. All right, let's take a look at our fullback position. And this is one of those T-Cos I might have to answer some tough questions here for me. Chad Dukes, I think, is the fullback of all fullbacks. He did it all for the Avengers when he was with them. Anytime you have a fullback running back kicks, that ought to tell you something. Chad is the man. Went there to Colorado and got injured, ended up stepping on to Philadelphia, and then now ends up in Austin. Again, I don't know why any of these teams let him go. Seems like a stand-up guy and just an incredible athlete. And he had so many great plays for him. He had long passes, short passes, runs. I mean, again, great to see Chad Dukes make it in there. And again, an 8th-year guy. And as you know, the linebacker position, fullback linebacker position, is not a fun one. Now with the Ironman, he can really, the Ironman position not as prevalent. He can focus on offense, and that's what Chad does best. T-Cos, give me your picks here for these offensive players of the week.
Well, I have to agree with you. I think Dolezel and Nelson had very memorable games, and they're going to have more of those. But especially Clint Dolezel being reunited once again with Marcus Nash. It's going to be an explosive duo throughout the year. And I think Ben Nelson, fresh off a Rookie of the Year, he might be looking at Offensive Player of the Year now, back-to-back award winners. So I do like what I'm seeing out of both of those guys.
All right, on the defensive side of the ball, let's go with our DBs first. And I think here's a a standout name his whole career, and I just don't understand why some of these teams have to let him go. It could be salary cap issues, but Kenny McIntyre, just, again, you put him anywhere and he makes an instant impact. Game number 1 for the grade, 2 interceptions, and this guy's been doing his whole career, and now he's fired up for the brigade, so got to hand it off to Kenny at the DB position. All right, let's talk about linebackers. Dane Krager, 2 sacks for Austin. This guy was on fire, and I'll tell you, from the onset of the game, and I think Atu Molden might have a few bumps and bruises on his head to attest to this, Austin came out hitting, and these defense was fired up, and Dane led the way, and got to hand it to that guy. Big moves, big plays for that linebacker position. All right, let's look at our defensive line players of the week for the All Money team. All right, the final candidate there, or we'll just go ahead and give the award for the All Money team players of the week for week 1 on the defensive line. C. Weatherington for Dallas, and again, you could have pretty much handed it to the whole Dallas defense for that matter, but coming up big with 2 sacks and just leading the way, and it was definitely frustration time for the New York Dragons at his expense. So again, got to hand it off to, in fact, the whole entire D-line. And I know how T-Coz hates it when I give the award to everybody, so we'll point it out to the C-man himself in the defensive line position. T-Coz, what do you got on defense?
I think defense, I don't usually believe in giving it to the whole defense, but Dallas getting that close to shutting them out for 3 quarters. I don't care what you do on a 50-yard field. That's bringing the heat during a game, and Dallas did just that. I have to also linebacker Dane Krager. I think he's going to be a really great star in this league. And imagine if you had all these guys all on one team, especially Dozell with Nelson. It'd be something else. But these guys all are going to have big years.
All right, folks, so that wraps up this edition of AFL Today. We look forward to next week's show as T-Coz and I will do it again, breaking down week 2 and, of course, the All Money team. I'm Evan Money for Tony Cozzolino. God bless, everybody.